seems so utterly convincing. You see, people come to talks like this and often think this is crazy, absolutely crazy stuff, because this is so convincing. It's obvious that there's separation. It's obvious that you're a person, and you're a person, and I'm a different person. It seems so obvious. Well, think of a film. Think of watching a film in a cinema. You know, if it's a good film and you're drawn into it, it seems equally obvious that real people, real emotions, real thoughts, all this activity going on, it's utterly convincing. But we know that all that's happening is a play of light on a two-dimensional screen.
And if it weren't utterly convincing, we'd want our money back.
Absolutely. And sometimes we ask for it. Yeah. So again, it's just a metaphor, but it's a way of understanding that sometimes we can find apparent realities utterly convincing, and yet we know that they're not. You go up and stand against a screen, put your nose to it, look at it, you can see clearly. It's a two-dimensional screen. It's just static images going in front of the light. And yet we think these are real people. What's going on are very close, if not maybe arguably identical, with what's being said here and what was said by the ancient seers of the Vedas, pretending for a moment there is such a thing as time, going back into the story there. You know, two stories, if you like, the science is coming up with. One is there is only energy. What is this? It's energy. What's that? It's energy. What's that? It's energy. Is it different? No, it's the same energy.
What's energy?
That and this and that and this and this is the same energy. It's vibration. What did the ancient seers say? There is only vibration. There is only sound. There is emptiness, and out of that comes sound, and out of sound comes the appearance of everything. What is the root mantra Aum that so many of us, even in the West, know of now? What is that said to be? It is said by the ancient seers to be the original vibration of the universe. What is the universe? It's Aum. Sorry, I don't want to get too Vedic or mystical here, but it's just interesting. The particle physicists come along and they split the atom and then they split the proton, and then you've got your quarks and your positrons and neutrons and electrons and Higgs bosons and who knows what, and you go on splitting and splitting and splitting and there's nothing there. There is nothing solid. It's just energy. It's kind of a bit interesting. Well, it may or may not be. You might find it very boring. I think it's a bit interesting that, you know, the ancient seers, if you like, came to this subjectively, and Western science has come to the same conclusion objectively. It might tell you there's something. You know. And the other fascinating thing is in neuroscience, that more and more and more neuroscientists say that there is no individual. There is no possibility of free will. There is no possibility of free choice. And I'm sure some of you will know the kind of experiments that neuroscientists are doing, which are leading them to say that. And these experiments, they are coming up with wilder conclusions that seem utterly mad to an individual. A few years ago, neuroscientists were saying that about a third of a second before you decide to pick up the water glass, the parts of the brain that activate the muscles that are involved in that part of the brain activates before you make the decision. So what does it mean to say you made the decision? If your automatic system, if your brain activated to do it before you even became conscious of the desire to do it. Now they're saying that delay can be up to 6 seconds. And scientists say they can reliably predict what action you're going to perform 6 seconds before you even think you've decided to perform it. I mean, that's kind of mind-blowing.
would you say the brain of the receiver?
You could say that. Yeah. Again, we have to be in the realm of metaphor, but you could say. I mean, I've used the metaphor of a prism. You could say, well, what is the prism? Well, the brain. You could say the brain is the prism, if you like. The pure white light of oneness enters the brain, and out come this wonderful rainbow display of thoughts and actions and emotions and feelings and perceptions. You could say that. Again, it's still a metaphor. I think it's more important, perhaps, because maybe it's more important, perhaps. I mean, the brain is a physical object. The brain clearly has something to do with how this appearance is perceived. I mean, that's obvious. Anybody who's taken hallucinogenic drugs knows that how this reality is perceived depends on what's going on in the electrical and chemical structures of the brain. It's so obvious. I think in a way what we could talk about as well. So let's say it's obvious that there is a physical brain. To many of us it seems equally obvious that there is a mind. And there isn't a mind. There is a brain or there isn't a mind.
Whatever that
seems to us, seems to many of us that there is a mind. And that mind seems to be a very central part of what we are. A very basic part of what we are. Take away my mind and what is left. So it can be a shock to see in awakening that there is no mind. Chastised when it scratches the furniture. It's very long and very complicated, the cat's diary, and basically it is full of plots about how the cat can escape from these terrible oppressors who are keeping it prisoner. And then you get the dog's diary. The dog's diary is very simple. It goes something like this. 8 o'clock, woke up, wow, my favourite. 8:30, breakfast, wow, my favourite. 9 o'clock, walkies, wow, my favourite. 9:30, tummy run, wow, my favourite. It goes on like this every day. Now, there is something very profound. I want to sort of be very serious now. There is something very profound and mystical and wonderful about that. Because in a way, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about what's liberation? It's akin to dog consciousness in a way. People say to me, people ask me, what's your life like now? Well, there's no reason why any life should be any different. But there is a tendency for life to become quite simple. Like
dog-like.
Quite simple. So that's what we're talking about. Yes. Minna does a very good line in the tail wagging, I've noticed. Yeah. So you notice that for the dog, there's just this, and this is enough. That's it. The dog knows that. The dog knows that.
But she is looking for goodies. She is looking for goodies. Sticks her nose in my pocket and.
References continue. You may have noticed.
Why not?
You may have noticed that at 3:15 I was looking for chocolate biscuits. It makes no difference.
Dog consciousness.
There are preferences.
Yeah.
Preferences continue. There's no reason why they shouldn't.
I liked the one with the white icing between the cookies. That was nice.
Okay. Well, I'm pleased to say we're not in competition.
That's great. Jack Sprat.
Is this the bit you're going to try and put on YouTube? The discussion?
Well, it could be.
I think that would be very appropriate.
We're looking for reality. This is it, isn't it?
Let's get the bit about dog consciousness and biscuits on YouTube. I'll tell you what to do if you want lots of hits. You get Mina on YouTube. Never mind the non-duality communicator. Get the dog on YouTube.
The dog, yes.
Incredibly boring and dull and you don't want to do it. It's like watching paint dry. I was talking to somebody a week or 2 or 3 ago who, this is kind of clear. And she said, I really like watching paint dry. I said, yes, I know what you mean. Just sitting. Or watching paint that's already dried is also particularly with cat on the watching the paint flake off.
Exactly. Decades.
Just sitting. I mean, in Zen they have this technique, don't they? Just sitting as well as that. I sometimes wonder if that arose out of a simple misunderstanding hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Somebody said to a student, he's just sitting, and the student kind of misunderstood that as I must just sit. Seriously, these are how these things often arise.
Practicing the effects to get the cause.
Exactly. Mistaking the effect for the cause. So where this is seen, there tends to be a quietening of thought. So the devotee climbs into the Himalayas and finds a master or whatever sitting there and notices that they seem to have a quietness of thought. So the devotee is kind of logical in a way. So the devotee thinks, okay, I want to be like him, whatever. I want to have what he or she has. Therefore, I must quieten my thoughts. And now you've got a technique which is then taught for the next 2,000 years. An impossible technique, a technique that nobody can do.
But you can get better and better at it, can't you?
You probably can. You can probably get to the point where you can quieten your thoughts for 20 or 30 seconds at a time. Probably. But it's very obvious in a way how we can mistake the effect for the cause. Seem to be so effective. So we seem to have a detachment. So the devotee goes, I want to be like that, so I must develop detachment. But we can't develop detachment. The master probably doesn't have detachment anyway. But, now tell us the anecdote. Yeah, I was walking along a beach in Wales with some friends a year or 2 ago, and we came across a couple that they knew, a married couple, and we stopped and talked, and the woman was very friendly, we had a nice talk, and after kind of grunting at us in a rather unfriendly way, the man went and sort of stood about 15, 20 feet away, and quite obviously played no part in the conversation, seemed to be a little impatient and just waiting for his wife to join him. We had a bit of a conversation with her, and then she went off with him. I said to my friend, what's going on with him? He meditates the whole time. He meditates all day, goes out for walks. And anything that gets in the way of that, he just rejects. He doesn't have any. So, talking to us would have been taking his attention away from his
meditation. Yeah.
I mean, that's an extreme, I know, but that's what could happen when we buy into the story of detachment. Now, Jane.